Anyway, I think you know about this JIRA board, all that. So in this JIRA board, usually I'm taking an application called point of sale system. Okay, so based on point of sale system, let us discuss about that. So in the point of sale system, what is that we have done is that first of all, we have created a roadmap. At the same time, we have mentioned the release date as well. Release date, which is started in the date of August 11th, and from there onwards, it will be 4 months. So by December 11th, 2022, it has to be completed. So this is what the first release we have planned so far. Now, what is that we have to do? We have written all the user stories, whatever the user stories and all everything we have written. So what is that we have to do now is, let me put everything on to do. Okay, and I will show you. Let me change everything to do and I'll explain to you. Right, so these are the three different epics I have created here. You can see one is for billing order processing we have created. In this billing order processing, we have all these user stories. At the same time, we have even the sales monitoring and reporting system. We have even few user stories in this. At the same time, for in reference to the inventory and stock management, these are the user stories. Right, so this is what I have completed so far. At the same time, so these are the three epics which I have created. Of course, I have not created all these. So I have created these three: billing, order processing, sales monitoring, and reporting. Now, whatever the user stories do we have and all everything, we can see it in the backlog, right? So you can see all these user stories which are there in the backlog. So wherein there are 61 story points which has to be created. Okay, 61 story points for all the user stories. What is that we have taken is what the balance was. So 13 issues. 13 issues means 13 user stories, which is equivalent to 61 story points. Now, what is that we have to do? First of all, we need to select the user story. Means before you are going for sprint planning, first of all, you need to put everything is into the release part, right? First of all, you have to put it on the release. For every user story, you know, you can write down the acceptance criteria here under the description format. You can write down the acceptance criteria for the particular user story. So once the acceptance criteria was written here, we need to identify the person to whom are we assigning this. You know this. At the same time, we can create label even. So I'm just creating a label called billing. Okay, I'm just creating a label called billing here, right? So billing is what the label I'm creating. Now it was there in the sprint one earlier. It was okay. Now completed, right? So this is what is completed. Now story points for 3, which is in the first release. So whatever the user stories do we have and all everything. So and whichever the user stories we have taken so far. So all the user stories we need to write down or we need to update it here. Here automatic I have given. So where I'm keeping all these in the first release. Okay, I'm keeping all these in the first release. Now this one even I have selected. I'm going for fixed version. because we have created only first release, right? So that's the reason why I'm just mentioning here. I think you are following, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Right. Right. So now let me write down even for this even. Of course, I am taking it randomly, right? I am not writing everything because in release, what is required in the release and all everything is what we have to see. That is what the point is. So we have to create a label also, right? So we need to create label uh, for everything, right? So you can create a new label here called sales, which is assigned to Raj, release one even. At the same time, we have taken two more user stories, 18, 19, 17 and 18, right? So 17 and 18 we are taking under the first release. 17 and 18 I am taking on the first release. So label stock register, okay, stock. I'm mentioning it as stock. Stock is a new label I have created, assigned to me, Raj, for the first release. Next even I have taken 18. Now transaction, right? Let me see. Transaction. Will it be taken? Yeah, it's taken, right? So transaction is what I have taken. This is for the first release, right? So now when you talk about the release part and all, so whenever you are talking about the first release, so these are the things you can see here, right? So whatever the one you can see here in this first release, August 11th to December 11th, right? So December 11th, what is that we can do is that whatever the releases and all everything was planned and all everything by us, right? So we have planned the releases, everything. So this release contains, you can see 5 unresolved issues. Am I right? Deepali,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
following?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So these user stories means whatever the user stories we have selected, we have, because there is no discipline that whatever the epics and epic is there within that epic, whatever the user stories, there is no guarantee that we have to take everything. You can take anyone whichever you like, right? You may be taking two from one epic, maybe for two more from another epic, maybe from one other from other epic, right? Like that we can select it. So that's the reason why if you can see here, it's 5 unresolved issues are there. So when you talk about the version and all everything, this is a present version where setup setup release automation, right? So setup release automation. Now create, right? So when issue is created, issue is unassigned, then add comment and all that. Next, conditions, navigation, where we were creating groups and all here. Uh, yeah, it is for the new trigger, right? So new trigger event for the release. Yeah, for the release management we are talking about. We need to create view all filters.